After my rebirth in senior year, I rejected the goddess I'd simped for 3 years and set my sights on the school's icy rich girl instead, who still cares about the goddess after rebirth. Who wants to be a simp anymore? Isn't the rich girl way better? Besides, in my past life, I chased her for 3 years and nearly had myself worth crushed by her rejections. Now that I've stopped simping, the goddess is the one getting anxious. Goddess Hannah rested her chin in her hands, looking at me with a prideful pout. Ryan Joe, how can you take back the love letter you wrote me? I chuckled, snatching the letter from her hand. Weren't you the one who didn't want it? No point letting it go to waste. I'll just change the name and give it to someone else. She pursed her lips, a slight smirk tugging at the corner of her mouth. Ryan, it's not like you have no chance. I just don't want to date right now. I glanced at her and broke out in a cold sweat instantly. If this were my teenage self, I might have actually kept simping over her because of that offhand remark. But from my perspective in my 30s now, you still think of me first? You're actually pretty nice. Listen to that. Is that even human language? I treated you like a goddess, and you just saw me as a simp? Hannah Chun, seeing I wasn't reacting, hurriedly added, Ryan Joe, I'm not joking with you. I spoke with a look of disdain, completely ignoring how flushed she was in that moment. But I don't think I really like you. It's better if we just leave each other alone. Hannah panicked, her voice trembling as she spoke. Ryan Joe, I don't believe you don't like me, bringing me breakfast every day, waiting for me after evening self-study. It's been 3 years, and I was always the one pursuing her. She was always high and mighty. She probably never imagined there'd come a day when I wouldn't like her anymore. It was all just for fun, but you took it seriously. I don't want to be a simp for even one more second. Simping till the end only leaves you with nothing. Hannah Chun exploded the moment she heard this. Ryan Joe, I'm never talking to you again. Just as she was about to walk away, I called out to stop her. She brightened up a little, a hint of smugness instantly returning to her face. What's wrong? Is there something else? But I should warn you, you won't get another chance. I glanced at the stationery pouch in my hand. Are we taking the college entrance exam? Is it over yet? Which subject are we on? Hannah Chun paused slightly. It's over. This was the last one. Thank goodness it's the last one. If I had to take it again, I might not even get into college. The setting sun bathed my skin. The breeze brushed my cheeks, and I savored this youthful, vibrant body. If I remember correctly, Southwood should be among the first areas in the old town slated for demolition. I couldn't help but drool over this old neighborhood, but there was a serious problem. I simply had no money. Buying property was unrealistic, and stock investments required capital I lacked. This is the downside of not having a system. Without money, you're nothing and can do nothing. Did I get a fake rebirth? Returning home and feeling that familiar warmth. I couldn't help but sigh with emotion. In my past life, I left before I could properly care for my parents. So, let me make up for that regret in this lifetime. After dinner, Mom slipped $500 bills into my hand as pocket money for my summer expenses. Looking at the $500 in my hand, my heart ached a little. What major entrepreneur starts with just $500? I took the money back to my bedroom, found Caden Goo's WeChat, and sent him a message. I told him to meet me at Old Street first thing tomorrow, mentioning I had $500 and a big project that could make us rich. Caden, he's a total money grubber. His dream is to earn enough to buy his own place in bustling Southwood. Seeing how eager he is to make money now, I'm not sure if I should tell him. 10 years from now, not only did he fail to achieve his dream, but he also ended up becoming a father to 2 kids at a young age. And the kids weren't even his. Caden was just like before. He called me bro the moment he saw me, but only because he knew I had $500 in my pocket. Bro Joe, what are you planning to do with that $500 in your pocket? I've never been to a bar before. Want to go check one out? I ignored him. Today, I only have one goal. Make money. Cut the nonsense. See that flower selling lady over there? Go ask how much her flowers cost. Kadengu looked in the direction I pointed, his expression turning quite complicated. I handed the flower lady $200 and told her not to ask questions. Just make the flowers. Then I bought $50 worth of small colored lights from a convenience store and carefully decorated the flowers with them. Caden found 2 cardboard boxes, packed some of the finished flowers inside, and I took him to Lovers Plaza in Southwood. Flowers might not be anything special, but selling them to young couples short on cash, that's romance right there. With the little colored lights, the flowers sold even better by dusk, and they were all gone in no time. Caden was exhausted, but when I handed him 2010 buck bills, he immediately stopped complaining. Clutching the money, he yelled, "Thanks, bro." Godfather, are we doing this again tomorrow? My past as a simp taught me that if you spend $200 treating your goddess to a meal, she might look down on you. But if you help a bro earn 200, then treat him to dinner. He'll call you godfather. Do what? I'm dead tired. Only made 300 and gave 200 to you. I grumbled aloud, but in my heart, I kept calculating about that first pot of gold. If all else fails, I'll go back and convince the couple to sell their house and buy World Cup lottery tickets straight up. Caden Gu was still hung up on places like bars, begging me to take him for a taste. Before we'd taken more than a few steps, 2 familiar figures appeared before us. One was our class's Chinese rep, June Wang. The other was Hannah Chun. June wore a pale yellow dress, her fluffy hair cascading down, giving off a sweet and adorable vibe. She spotted me and immediately raised her hand in greeting. "Ryan Zhou, Caden Gu, what are you two doing here?" Hearing someone call my name, I instinctively looked up. My gaze accidentally met Hannah Chen's amidst the bustling crowd. I withdrew my smile and turned away with some indifference. Due to memories from my past life, I always view matters of love with a sense of detachment. A soul in its 30s has given me enough maturity. I truly have no fondness for Hannah Chen now. Simping till you end up with nothing. I just want to focus on making money. When June Wang asked what we were up to, Caden Gu spilled everything about our flower selling today. His words were full of pride, as if it were something to boast about. "Ryan Zhou, why did you suddenly start learning to do business?" I casually made up an excuse. "Saving up to marry a rich girl." Hannah Chen reacted strongly. "What, marry a rich girl?" I didn't humor her and shot back. "None of your business." June Wang burst out laughing at my remark. "Starting to save up already? Just how precious of a rich girl are you planning to marry?" I slightly raised the corner of my mouth and let out a light chuckle. "That depends on how many you marry. The more wives, the more money you need." During this exchange, Hannah Chen's gaze turned icy, her expression clearly annoyed. She clung to June Wang's arm, acting very affectionate. Startled by the pain, June Wang snapped out of it, glanced at her, then looked at me. Then, as if remembering something, she broke into a smile. "Don't you like Hannah Chen? Why look for some rich girl? Isn't Hannah great? She's cute, pretty, and most importantly, really gentle." My face paled, and I said very seriously, "Sis, just spare me, okay? It's a cesspool of lowlifes out there. Want me to keep being a simp? No way I'm going back to that. Whoever wants to simp can go ahead." Hearing this, Hannah Chen completely lost her composure. "Ryan Zhou, what exactly do you mean by that?" I waved my hand dismissively. "Nothing much. You guys keep having fun. I'm out of here. You're not allowed to leave." I didn't say you could go. Ignoring her, I waved without looking back and melted into the crowd on the street. Hannah Chen stood rooted in place, watching my retreating figure with overwhelming bitterness, tears welling up uncontrollably in her eyes. Unlike some cliché novel heroine, she didn't suddenly realize she had feelings for me. Hannah simply felt as though I looked down on her, as if she were some kind of repulsive nuisance. Whether as the campus goddess or the campus belle, teenage idols harbor fragile hearts and fierce pride. To be treated this way by someone who once desperately pursued her, of course she was filled with resentment. I kept telling myself, "Don't be a simp, don't be a simp, stop being a simp." With this rebirth, who even cares about the goddess? I know we've become strangers. The best way is to leave each other alone. Whatever she does is her business, not mine. All I want is to focus on making money. I've matured. No more love-struck foolishness. No more simping. No more messaging her on WeChat. No more sending good morning or good night. No more secretly commenting on her social media posts. And I even changed my profile picture to Ida Makoto. My status message now reads, "Be a Sigma male." My thinking was quite ahead of its time. She even sent me a message asking why I locked my moments and what my signature meant. I never replied to her. Thinking back on the long messages I wrote for her, I even feel like laughing. Perhaps youthful infatuation and recklessness are a blend of beauty and misfortune. I've decided not to take detours in this life. Focusing on making money is the right path. Is a book club my way out? How would I know without trying? I've decided to make reading my first step toward proving my path to wealth. The city library really has a lot of books, but honestly, most aren't very useful to me. I only picked a few that are the most useful for my goals. How to become the gentle, warm man rich girls love. 15 successful cases of touching a rich girl's heart with details from 0 to 1. 50 get rich, quick techniques. How to win over a rich girl. How did I not realize before that books could actually teach me how to move a rich girl? Honestly, given my current situation, the only shortcut to getting my first pot of gold is winning over a rich girl. A rich man? Well, that's not off the table either. Before I could even sit down with my stack of books, my gaze was drawn to the corner in the southeast. There sat a young woman wearing a fitted long dress, her smooth, long hair cascading over her shoulders. Bathed in sunlight, she shimmered like a radiant pearl, quietly engrossed in a thick book, appearing both gentle and serene. It wasn't the sunlight that dazzled, but the brilliant glow of her youthful spirit. Rebirth had its perks. At least the memories of the past remained vivid and clear. Isn't that Serena Sue, the aloof rich girl from our school? At Southwood High, Serena Sue was the true one that got away in every boy's heart. Enhanced by her rich girl aura, even other girls couldn't help but glance her way. Noble, elegant, intellectual, and composed, she was chauffeured to and from school daily in a winged emblem luxury car, accompanied by a personal driver and bodyguard. Serena truly carried the aura of a wealthy heiress, aloof in demeanor and friendless by choice. Aside from answering questions in class, she never spoke a word to anyone. Most importantly, she had no patience for simps. It was precisely because of her icy, unapproachable demeanor, coupled with the intimidating presence of her burly bodyguards, that despite having countless admirers, no one ever dared to confess their feelings to her. Serena Sue seemed to notice that I was staring at her. Honestly, no matter how old a man is, the allure of a young woman is hard to resist. I gazed at her radiant figure, momentarily lost in thought. Serena raised an eyebrow and glanced over indifferently. After meeting my eyes briefly, without any emotion, she quickly refocused on the book in her hands. When reading, such a terribly dull activity becomes unbearable. Lifting your eyes to admire a beauty isn't a bad alternative. I walked straight over and sat down on the table opposite her. Thankfully, I'm decent looking. Otherwise, I'd surely be mistaken for some frosty goblin harassing her and get hauled away by her bodyguards. But I've never quite understood why it's called chatting up when you're handsome, but harassment when you're not. I casually closed my book, stood up, pushed the chair back, and prepared to leave. Serena Sue moved the book aside, her clear eyes fixed on me. She then took the nameplate from the right side of the desk and placed it in front of me. My gaze swept over the nameplate, my shoulders trembling slightly, but I left without a word. Meeting a rich girl like her, how could there not be some trickery involved? The moment I saw her, I made a certain resolution in my heart. I'm going to win over the rich girl, Serena Sue. Serena Sue watched my retreating figure without speaking further. Silently setting her own book down, she stepped lightly to the other side of the table and gathered the books I had left open. Just as Serena finished tidying the last book, intending to return them to their place, I reappeared in her line of sight and softly stopped her. I wasn't planning to run. I just got thirsty and went to buy some water. It's all a misunderstanding. Really sorry. Let me treat you to a drink. I unscrewed the cap of the juice in my hand and offered it to Serena. She didn't take it, frozen in place, not speaking, not making a sound, not moving. Finally, She lowered her head and returned to her seat, raising the book high again to hide her exquisite face. The rich girl's difficulty level is really not low. That just makes me even more excited. I sat back in my seat and continued reading, catching a glimpse of a fair, slender hand reaching out from behind that copy of Dream of the Red Chamber. It first grasped that bottle of juice, then quietly withdrew. In the days that followed, I would come to the city library whenever I had time. Each time, I would run into Serena Sue, and each time, we'd end up sitting at the same table, face to face. Yet neither of us spoke, just focused on our own books. But I never came empty-handed. Sometimes I'd bring some snacks. After a couple of times, Serena Sue started bringing snacks too, and each time, she placed them quite close to my side. Though we exchanged no words, we were remarkably in sync. Just like that, this subtle dynamic between us lasted for half the holiday. Serena Sue was truly a feast for the eyes, no matter how you looked at her. And by now, she no longer completely hid her face behind a book. Yet the cool detachment in her eyes remained unchanged, and she showed almost no desire to converse. As the holiday was about to end, I couldn't hold back any longer and spoke up. "Serena, could I borrow some money from you?" I cleared my throat, trying to appear as sincere as possible. Serena Sue blinked in confusion, paused for a moment, then slapped her small pink purse hanging on the chair right in front of me. I was completely thrown off. Her demeanor screamed, rich girl without a doubt. But the amount I meant wasn't just a few hundred. It was a lot. How much? I intended to just state a number, but hesitated, worried that asking for too much would put her in a tough spot, while too little wouldn't suffice. "How about this? Lend me whatever you can spare. I'll pay you back soon." Absolutely no running off with the money. After a moment of thought, Serena Sue nodded obediently. "Got it. I'll bring it to you tomorrow." Once again, she left me utterly speechless. A rich girl? Is she really that easy to manipulate? Since when is borrowing money this simple? Did I rebirth into the same world? Warm sunlight streamed through the library's massive floor, to ceiling windows, spilling over Serena Sue. I stared at her for a long moment, convinced that Serena wasn't joking with me. She really agreed to lend me the money, but why did I feel so absurd? Shouldn't she ask for an IOU? Or at least inquire what I need it for? Or even ask when I plan to repay? She always leaves on time, but this time, before stepping out, Serena paused deliberately, then turned and waved goodbye to me. She isn't as aloof as she seems. I watched her leave, then turned to gaze out the huge floor, to ceiling window. Through the glass, I could clearly see the black Maybach parked downstairs. The driver held the car door open respectfully, while a bodyguard stood stern and vigilant on the other side. Can I really borrow the money? I felt a mix of anticipation and doubt. As usual, I went to the city library, where Serena Sue was already seated early as always. She opened her small leather bag, pulled out a bank card, and slapped it directly in front of me. "Here's the money you wanted." To be honest, as a man in his 30s borrowing from an 18-year-old girl, I feel a bit embarrassed. I picked up the bank card. Its silver and black surface glinted in the sunlight, still feeling somewhat unreal. "Just borrowing money standing like this? Thank you. What's the PIN?" 6 sixes. Rich people's bank card passwords are truly unpretentious. I thought about asking how much was in it, but hesitated and couldn't bring myself to ask. I felt it might be inappropriate to ask, making it seem too purposeful. Forget it. Whatever amount is there will do. It's probably her New Year's money or allowance anyway. At most, maybe 50 or 60,000, possibly even less. I plan to use this money to start a small business first. See if I can double it. Then, I'll buy a small flat in Southwood to profit from the demolition compensation. Then return the money to Serena Sue and see how much is left before starting the real business plan. I asked Serena Sue, "Did you get a bank card this early?" "It's not mine," Serena Sue replied calmly. I asked casually, but was stunned upon hearing the answer. I widened my eyes. "If this card isn't yours, then whose is it?" Serena Sue lifted her clear eyes. "I stole it from my mom." "You stole your mom's money to spend on me. Is that appropriate?" Serena Sue looked confused, as if she herself didn't understand why she did it. I was completely baffled. What kind of relationship would make a girl steal her mother's money to spend on me? Boyfriend, fiance, husband. Aside from these possibilities, I couldn't think of anything else. But the key issue is that Serena Sue and I aren't really close. We're not even in the same class, just schoolmates. Although we've been studying together and sharing snacks these past few days, we haven't talked much. This money felt a bit too hot to handle. After hesitating repeatedly, I reluctantly returned the bank card to her. I'm truly desperate for money because, without it, nothing can be accomplished. But tricking an innocent young girl into stealing from her family, what kind of person does that? I'm worried you'll get scolded when you go home, so let's just forget it. Serena Sue shook her head in confusion. It's fine. My mom has lots of cards. She won't notice one missing. I still waved my hand dismissively and said with a grin, I can't borrow money that's taken secretly. Will you pay it back? Of course I will. It's just, I hesitated, a little voice in my head urging me to take it. After all, as long as I return the money before anyone finds out, it should be fine. It's not like I'm going to run off with it. I started comforting myself over and over. That's just how the world works. The bold thrive, the timid starve. Besides, it's borrowing, not stealing. Convinced by my own reasoning, I picked the card back up and took Serena Sue to the bank. Since Serena Sue had no idea how much money was in there, she was utterly clueless. Since she's the creditor, I figured she had a right to know the exact amount inside. But then again, what is this girl thinking? Isn't she afraid I might cheat her? When I checked at the bank, I realized poverty had truly limited my imagination. Holy crap. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10, thousands, 100, thousands, million. I couldn't even count the digits. My eyes widened in disbelief as I stared at Serena Sue. Over 6 million, all in one bank card, with the password being 6 sixes. It felt utterly surreal. Even novels wouldn't dare write something this absurd. After returning from the bank, I sat silently at my desk, feeling like today's experience was even more bizarre than the whole rebirth thing. Anyway, the issue of my first pot of gold was perfectly resolved. I didn't even need to cautiously plan a startup. I could just dive in head first. First, buy a small building, wait for the demolition payout, invest in stocks, then venture into some real industry. Finally, jump straight into live stream e-commerce. Starting a business couldn't be simpler. Serena Sue patted me, her eyes clear and fixed on me as if she had something to say. I snapped out of my daze slightly. What's up? I want to be friends with you. I hope you won't be ungrateful. Serena's expression was serious, while I was covered in question marks, utterly baffled. My brain stalled for a moment. I glanced at the somewhat nervous Serena, then smacked my forehead as the situation suddenly became clear. She was clearly a natural airhead with a mild case of social anxiety. Actually, we're already friends. Serena widened her eyes and pouted at me. Then, when can you take me out to have fun? With Serena's financial support secured, I decided to go all out and make some money. The first phase of the Southwood redevelopment was about to begin, so buying demolition properties naturally became my first choice. I roamed the streets and alleys with Kate and Goo, posting house purchase notices in every neighborhood slated for demolition. Soon, I bought my first demolition property. Caden had come along with me and sat nearby, looking a bit uneasy. A transfer contract and a purchase contract lay before me, stirring both excitement and worry in my heart. $630,000. I've already transferred the money. Good. Caden Goo looked at my face, feeling somewhat surreal. A high school graduate, spending over $600K on a house, while classmates are still hanging out in internet cafes. You're already out there scouting and buying properties. Who the hell can wrap their head around that? I've freaking been reborn. Seen it all in my past life. No more barely scraping by. The world is vast, and there's so much to achieve. I pushed the water cup in front of me forward and laid my cards on the table. Bros, done pretending. I'm a rich kid. Caden gulped. Bro, I've never even been to a massage parlor. Then, once the admission letter comes, I'll make time to take you for a look. Thanks, Godfather. I grinned. Caden, you're something else. really broadened your horizons. This is way better than chasing romance. Who the hell wants to be a simp anymore? In my past life, I saved 2 months' salary to treat my goddess to a fancy dinner, and all she gave me was a cold thanks. Just look at my buddy. A simple massage is enough to make him call me Godfather in gratitude. Bro Joe, our class has a gathering this afternoon. Are you going? I snapped out of my thoughts, looking slightly puzzled. Why have a gathering now? Kaden let out a long sigh, his face clouded with worry. The grades are about to be released. If we don't hang out now, those who bombed the exam probably won't be in the mood afterward. I thought it over and still declined. You guys go ahead. I'll sit this one out. I promised Serena, Sue I'd take her out. The gathering isn't for me. Right on time, as agreed. Serena Sue appeared in my view. She wore a floral maxi dress with brown leather shoes, her dark hair glowing with a youthful charm under the neon nightlights. We strolled through the old amusement park, her curious eyes darting around, fascinated by the trinkets at every stall. In Serena Sue's small bag was a meticulously planned schedule. Every step of her daily life was prearranged. Mornings for piano practice, afternoons for ballet lessons, evenings for etiquette training. Only in the afternoon could she catch her breath at the library. This was probably how every rich girl's childhood passed. No one ever truly stepped into her world. With no friends and no ordinary social interactions, she grew socially anxious, misunderstood by others as aloof and cold. I smiled at her and pulled the contract out of my bag. I now owned 4 demolition properties, having spent over $3 million for my card. The compensation was expected to be around 3 times that amount. Once the demolition payout came through, I'd return Serena Sue's money. By then, I should have $1 or $2 million left, plus the 4 properties. While waiting for the demolition funds, I didn't plan to idle. I intended to invest another $2 or $300,000 into starting a business. Buying demolition properties was, after all, a speculative shortcut, but real entrepreneurship was something entirely different. The phone suddenly rang. It was Kaden calling, completely out of the blue. Ryan, it's bad. You need to come to the gathering right now. I wonder what couldn't be said over the phone that required a trip to the gathering. Ryan, hurry. It's too complicated to explain on the phone. Serena Sue got off the carousel, pointing at the roller coaster with a playful grin. Ryan, I want to ride that. My mind went blank for a moment, stunned, but I forced a smile to mask my expression. Who would have thought? My rich girl patron, who usually seems so gentle and quiet, actually wants to ride such a crazy roller coaster. I'm freaking out. I'm actually pretty scared. I can't even remember the last time I rode one, only that I vomited all over the person in front of me, followed by a mid-air disaster. Just thinking about it now makes me shudder. But what can I do? She's the rich girl. I adjusted my mindset and looked at Serena Sue with a cheerful laugh. Ha ho. That one's not fun. Let's go on the Ferris wheel instead. Serena shook her head, stomped her foot, and gazed at me pitifully. No, I want to ride that one. You have to take me. She was acting all cute with me, melting this 30-something uncle's heart. Screw it. I'll risk my life to accompany this young lady just this once. The moment I stepped onto the roller coaster, my legs started trembling. I forced calmness, pressing down hard on my thighs to appear somewhat natural. Ryan, the news said there'd be a brief moment of weightlessness. I'm so excited for my first ride. Serena Sue laughed joyfully, the first time I'd seen her so naturally relaxed. I mumbled and stammered vague responses to her. The couple behind us whispered to each other, offering mutual encouragement. If you're scared, just scream loudly and hold my hand tight. I was too nervous to speak, already embarrassed just imagining how ridiculous I'd look later. Dizziness, vertigo, and sensory overload all hit me at once. Felt like my CPU was about to fry. I screamed at the top of my lungs, and my stomach rebelled too. Everything came up in a spectacular spray, earning me a middle finger from the bald man in front. Long after the roller coaster stopped, I still hadn't snapped out of it, like I'd lost my memory. I lay motionless in the seat. Serena Sue poked me without saying a word, and I snapped to attention, quickly turning to look at her. My first thought was that, no matter what, I couldn't let my sugar daddy be unhappy. Her eyes were red, rimmed. She started to speak, but held back. I'm fine, just a bit sleepy. Look, I can still jump. I tried to step down to prove it, only to realize my left hand was tightly clasped with her right. The moment I stepped off the roller coaster, I collapsed onto the ground, dizzy but grinning foolishly. The doctors said I have a congenital balance disorder. I get dizzy easily, even after rebirth. It seems this old ailment still clings to me. Serena Sue, however, seemed completely unaffected and giggled gleefully. She helped me sit down on the side and just watched me quietly, saying and doing nothing. Truth be told, a rich young lady like her isn't really skilled at comforting others. They're born not having to please anyone or worry about others' opinions. Naturally, they miss out on some of those so-called social niceties. The etiquette she learned simply doesn't apply to us ordinary folks. Carrying an innate air of aloofness. I accidentally grabbed your hand earlier. Did I hurt you? Serena Sue didn't seem to mind, pulling me along to try other rides. My phone rang again. This was getting relentless. Kaden Goo's voice came through the receiver, loud and frantic. Bro Joe, get over here quick. If you don't come soon, someone's gonna die. I looked up at Serena Sue, expecting her to be upset and insist I stay with her. A flicker of displeasure crossed her face before she smiled again. Ryan Joe, if you have something to handle, go ahead. Don't worry about me. My driver will pick me up later. Saying I wasn't panicking would be a lie. I was freaking out inside. If someone really died, I'd be implicated for sure. Next time, I'll definitely make it up to you and show you a proper good time. Serena Sue pouted, laughing happily and adorably. Thank you, Ryan Joe, for spending so much time with me today. I had a wonderful time. I hurried off, leaving her alone and slightly disheveled in the wind. As I hailed a cab by the roadside, I glanced back and saw Serena Sue being escorted away by 2 bodyguards. That black Maybach reappeared in my sight, with a woman dressed in luxurious, aristocratic attire standing beside it. I couldn't bother with that anymore. Saving a life was far more urgent. I headed to the karaoke bar at the address Kaden Goo gave me. He was already waiting at the entrance. Bro, Ryan, you're finally here. Hannah Chin drank way too much inside. She's being hysterical, saying she'll jump off the building if you don't come. Hurry in and see what you can do. Honestly, I don't want anything to do with her anymore. Hannah Chin saw me arrive, a smile spreading across her face. Ryan Joe, you came. I knew you still cared about me. Come sit down and have a drink with me. She was utterly drunk, looking nothing like the campus spell she once was, more like a fallen woman. I picked up a glass from the table and downed it in one go. Hannah Chun, haven't you caused enough trouble? She stood up, and neither June Wong nor the other two could hold her back. Have I made enough of a scene? Ryan Zhou, why don't you like me? What's so great about Serena Sue? I didn't explain, letting her slander me without restraint. You don't actually think the Sue family would ever accept you, do you? Are you trying to be a pretty boy? I couldn't be bothered to argue with her or even explain. Hannah Chun was so upset she was on the verge of tears, collapsing onto the leather sofa. June Wong, as her best friend, immediately took her side and threw a glass of wine in my face without even hearing the facts. Ryan Zhou, you bastard. Hannah treated you so well, and now you're gonna go live off a woman? If I were my younger self, I might have reconsidered and kept simping, but now I finally see them for what they are. I'd rather work like a beast of burden than ever be a simp again. My 30-something mindset lets me see right through it all. I know any explanation would just be a useless cover up. I shot her a glare over my shoulder and turned away, leaving the private room with finality. Hannah Chun, we can't go back to how things were. From now on, you go your way, and I'll go mine. She has her path to walk, and I have my future to build. There's no denying she once accompanied me through a period of my life. But what's past will eventually fade away. After I left, Kaden Gu followed behind me, not daring to speak. I roughly figured out how Hannah Chen learned about Serena Sue and me. Kaden must have told June Wong. I pulled him into another private room, and the two of us ordered plenty of drinks. Caden drank quite a bit, but he was still fairly coherent. Caden, if you still consider me a brother, keep your distance from June Wong from now on. I really didn't know whether to tell Caden that after he simped for June Wong for so long and finally got together, she ended up cheating on him. He became a father to 2 kids at such a young age. His deep affection wasted on the wrong person. Caden looked at me drunkenly, confused about why I was saying all this. This is all I can do to help my brother. The rest is up to him. With most of the messy situations sorted out, I'm ready to let go and go all out. The world is vast, and there is much to be accomplished. After setting aside the money for demolition, compensation apartments, there's still plenty left. Perfect for some small investments. If I only focus on making money in real estate, high returns might never come. Ultimately, starting a business is the way. Ambition can help me achieve something entirely new. I rarely go to the library anymore. I'm swamped with everything on my plate. The demolition matters keep getting postponed, and I simply can't spare the time. I asked Caden Gu to cover for me, just to free up half a day. I wanted to visit the library to see Serena Sue and apologize to her. Leaving early that day was my fault. I was in the wrong, carrying a large bag of snacks she loves. I sat down at our usual spot in the library. The opposite desk was cleared and tidy. I waited a long time, but Serena Sue never showed. Is she upset with me? Maybe she left early for something. Perhaps she had other plans today. There was disappointment, but along with it, an indescribable, strange feeling. I gave Caden Gu $500 a day to keep an eye on the demolition site for me for 3 days. From morning till night, I waited for Serena Sue at the library for 3 days, but she still didn't show up. Countless thoughts flooded my mind, and those days we spent reading together resurfaced once more. Simply reading, with her sitting across from me, had now become a luxury. The librarian told me that spot hadn't been occupied by anyone for a long time. Serena Sue had shone brightly into my world, only to quietly slip away. In that moment, a wave of defeat or regret washed over me. I couldn't tell which. I still owed her money. I refused to believe she wouldn't want to see me. It took me a long time to finally track down Serena Sue's home address. She lived in the most bustling villa district in Southwood. The villa area was isolated from the outside by a surrounding river, with only 2 footbridges connecting inside and out. I stationed myself on the footbridge closest to where she'd return home, just hoping to catch a glimpse of her. I wanted to tell her that I'd repay the money I owed soon, and that meeting her had truly made me happy. Besides, saying I wanted to win her over was just a joke. The gap between us is still huge. On that rainy night, I held my umbrella and still refused to leave. I'd waited for days without seeing that black Maybach, afraid I might miss her. One can't possess both youth and the feeling of youth at the same time. But fortunately, I now have both. A man in his 30s shouldn't be this childish inside. Yet the winds I faced, the rains I endured, and the mistakes I made in my youth, I simply refused to miss them again. The roar of the Maybach V12 engine rushed past, rainwater splashing along the tire tracks and spraying onto my cheap sneakers. I looked up and saw the black Maybach. Pure instinct made me chase after the car and shout out, "Serena Sue, Serena Sue, Serena Sue, I want to see you." I thought I'd finally found the person I'd been waiting for. As that signature Maybach umbrella emerged from the car, the woman stepped out, dressed in luxurious elegance, exuding nobility. Our eyes met, and she walked toward me under her umbrella. I was stunned. Her unique aura and haughty expression left me breathless. "So it's you who sneaked one out? She stole my card for you, didn't she? Don't think I don't know what you're after. A toad lusting after a swan's flesh. Stop dreaming. You're not worthy of her. Can you even repay the money Juana gave you?" I stayed silent, a wave of defeat washing over my 30-something heart, the umbrella slipping from my hand to the ground. $6 million. You have 1 month to repay it all, and that's only for Juana's sake. I'll let your deception slide. Without looking back, she walked to her car, rain, or perhaps tears, mingling on my face. That phrase surged in my mind. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west. Don't underestimate the young and poor. Even with my 30, something rationality telling me it's a joke. The youth in me refused to give up. Contradiction and conflict sharpened my clarity like never before, and the words lodged in my throat spilled out. Serena Sue, wait for me. I will definitely come to marry you. To be honest, I don't know what gave me the courage to say those words. The rear window of the Maybach rolled down gently, just rolled down, with no other reaction. Only after the car had gone quite far did a hand emerge from inside, forming a circle with a thumb and index finger. I smiled. The rain falling on me didn't feel entirely bleak. Unable to contain my excitement, I began jumping for joy. It seemed I had found my purpose in this life, the motivation driving me forward. Serena Sue and I hadn't shared that many experiences together, nor had she been by my side during difficult times. Yet the aura around her drew me closer. That Serena Sue sitting by the window in the library, her entire youth seemed to glow. But throughout my own youth, there was never a girl who shone for me. I never found that person. My youth was wasted on Hannah Chun. I admit I used to be a lovesick fool, a total simp, the shameless kind. I don't know what it truly feels like to genuinely like someone. Everyone thought the campus belle should be liked, so I liked the campus belle. I was wrong. Liking someone requires feeling, while being together demands action. On that rainy night, on the overpass, I understood for the first time what I truly wanted. When an exceptional person crosses my path, do I possess the capability to match them? Courage alone is far from enough. Only strength levels the playing field. The experiences of a man in his 30s, housed in a teenager's body, could hardly conceal the spirited ambition within. Once, I could only lament how others saw Woyong in full bloom, while I arrived when spring had passed. But now, the youthful breeze blows upon me, and I must seize that ounce of wind worth its weight in gold. I cast all worries aside, setting aside even matters of the heart. Since I've been given this rebirth, I'll start by aiming for a small goal. If I recall correctly, the planned use for the Southwood construction land is a commercial entertainment center. In my previous life, after graduating, I returned here and simply idled away my days. Every day was the same grind. Clocking in at 9, clocking out at 10, living an unremarkable life as a wage slave. My campus goddess, Hannah Chun, took the money I'd scrimped and saved to become a streamer, only to end up snagging a rich kid. I gave her everything I had, only to end up with nothing after all my efforts. Since Southwood is being developed as a secondary business district, I might as well venture into offline commerce here. In the coming years, with the rapid growth of the internet, the era of short-form videos will arrive. If I can seize this opportunity, it won't just be about achieving a small goal. It'll be on a whole different scale. With my target clear and direction set, the first step is to tackle the initial accumulation of capital. I used the remaining money I had to invest in a few small engineering firms, focusing solely on earthwork projects after taking over. The large-scale demolition in Southwood requires a massive number of earthwork truck teams. The engineering teams also have high equipment demands, and just leasing out machinery alone can bring in substantial profits. I ran around everywhere, and it took a full month to coordinate all the arrangements. Managing the engineering companies was relatively straightforward, so I left it all to Caden Gu to handle. Driven by the desire to make money, he didn't let me down. The 1-month deadline is fast approaching, and I still haven't raised the $6 million. I decided to come clean with my parents, and to my surprise, this time they didn't oppose or blame me. I've been leaving early and returning late every day, and my parents have heard some rumors from outside, but they still chose to support me unconditionally, standing firmly behind me, hearing no reproach. My eyes reddened, and I was too choked up to speak. Looking back at the things I did in my past life, I really was a scoundrel. In this life, I want to properly honor and care for them. My mother asked no questions and simply handed me a bank card within a day. My father mortgaged our family home to secure a loan of $2 million, along with the $500,000 they had saved for my college education. All of it was given to me, holding the two. 5 million. I said nothing, knelt on the ground, and kowtowed 3 times to them. The moment I stepped out of the house, I could no longer hold back my tears. My 30-something-year-old heart knows the most painful feeling of all. There is a kind of pain that comes from wanting to care for your parents when they are no longer there. I had 5 million, plus all the available profit funds from the investment engineering company, along with an initial portion of the demolition payout. I barely scraped together 6 million, and once the full demolition compensation comes through, I'll get back another 3 to 4 million or so. I took this money to the Sue family, intending to return it personally to Serena Sue, but she wasn't there. Her mother had sent her abroad to study. I didn't get to see her. I handed the money to the butler and left. That long-held belief of mine was shattered once again. I had destroyed it with my own hands, and I didn't know if everything I'd done was right. I wasn't even sure what the point was. Serena Sue never revealed any feelings toward me. It was all just my one-sided wishful thinking. The butler called out to me, but I had no intention of turning back, because being seen crying by others would have been truly embarrassing. Are you Ryan Joe? A letter from the young mistress, Serena, and I had no way to contact each other. Even communication had to rely on this most primitive method. The moment I received the letter, I was at a loss. Honestly, I was a bit afraid to open the envelope. I feared that what was inside wouldn't be the outcome I hoped for. The letter is in my hands, and so is the choice. The heart of a man in his 30s wrestled with that of an 18-year-old boy for a long time. In the end, the boy's heart yielded. I chose not to open that letter. At least for now, I lack the courage to accept and face whatever outcome lies within. What kind of youth will my 18-year-old self have? I've pondered this question countless times in the future, each possibility seemingly capable of leading to a remarkable life. Now, standing at this crossroads of 18, with the choice in my hands, I find myself hesitating. The summer after the college entrance exams ended, Caden Gu had earned quite a bit of money working for me, but he still chose to attend university in the city where June Wong had applied. He didn't take my advice, stubbornly insisting on chasing after June Wong. I don't blame him. No one can make another's choices in youth. I chose not to go to college. It took me 12 years to leave school, and another 12 to truly enter society. Back then, I had youth, but not happiness. While others were enjoying their youth, I gave up everything for her. I hope, this time, my choice is the right one. I devoted all my time single-mindedly to improving my skills, making myself stronger and more outstanding. After all the demolition compensation came through, I didn't rush to repay my parents. I invested all the funds into Southwood's development, pouring every penny earned from earthwork projects back into it. In no time, I consolidated several engineering teams into the city's largest earthwork company. Through the most grueling means, I completed my primitive capital accumulation. My ultimate goal was to venture into e-commerce, blending online and physical pathways. I never neglected self-improvement, joining business associations, and attending commercial events. At the first opportunity, I established my own commerce company, planning to integrate it with strategic industries. Southwood's old district transformed into a new zone, with renovations gradually completed. I aimed to make my mark in this vast arena. Time flew by swiftly. For years passed in the blink of an eye. I received no word from Serena Sue. She seemed to have vanished from my world without a trace. Caden Gu returned every holiday, sometimes bringing June Wong to meet me. Yet, he remained as humble as ever. I never saw Hannah Chin again after that. I heard she went abroad. I became the city's celebrated business prodigy, achieving several small goals in just 4 short years. Once, a financial reporter asked me a question. Mr. Zhou, what has been the driving force behind your success? I hesitated for a long time after hearing that question. Serena Sue. I didn't hold back. The answer slipped out without a second thought. It was common knowledge that Serena Sue was the only daughter of the Sue family. By uttering Serena Sue's name, I knew I was inviting a flood of negative press. After the report aired, many people saw it and came to know who I was. How I wish Sue could have known too. I was invited to an international business forum abroad, my first glimpse of the world outside. For the first time, I was treated as a success, standing at the center of a banquet, sharing my journey with everyone. After the banquet ended, I felt a sense of emptiness and loss. Where exactly is Serena Sue? I really want to see her. I've always wanted to. I've been searching for her all this time. Over these 4 years, I've met so many people, but I was merely seeking her shadow and others. The banquet host invited the organizer of the business forum to give a speech, and a girl walked into my view. At first, I thought she was just another girl who resembled her. Please, welcome the representative of the forum organizer, Miss Serena Sue, to the stage for her address. That voice reached my ears, leaving my mind buzzing and blank. I looked up and saw her on stage, radiant as ever, just like the first time I saw her in the library. Having missed her youth, could I ever be worthy of the time that remained? After the banquet ended, I was eager to meet her, but when it really came time to see her, I felt a bit afraid and hesitant. The unresolved outcome from 4 years ago lingered in my heart, a young man's pride subtly nagging at me. Serena Sue's fair skin seemed delicate and flawless. Her snow white gown paired with sparkling crystal high heels, noble and elegant, her aura captivating. Amid the crowd's laughter and chatter, our eyes met. Hers held everything I longed to know. She led me to the outdoor terrace, and we sat down. I stayed silent, quietly watching her. Ryan Zhou, you came. Is everything all right? Her voice had changed, almost unrecognizable. That adorable girl who never knew how to please others had now truly become a woman. Everything's fine. Why didn't you contact me? I need to confirm something. Did you ever like me? My words carried a touch of childishness, as if pouring out all the grievances from these 4 years. Serena Sue looked somewhat wronged, her eyes red as she gazed at me. I did. 4 years ago, the answer was already in that letter. I fell silent. That letter, I never opened it. It had been quietly tucked inside that copy of Dream of the Red Chamber. She'd read, if only I had opened that letter 4 years ago, would we still be meeting here like this? Perhaps if I'd opened it, we could have been together long ago. Youth shouldn't be defeated by fragile pride. If you like someone, you should boldly pursue them, not end up like me, missing out and lamenting the youth I could have shared with her. I held Serena Sue's hand tightly. I wanted to hold her close, to accompany her through the youth we had missed. Let's return to our homeland together. Serena Sue nodded gently and softly agreed. All right, from now on, I'll walk by your side. Extra chapter. The lights shimmered brilliantly, and figures moved in scattered clusters. Ryan Zhou held Serena Sue's hand as they strolled along the riverbank, walking in silence without a word spoken. The breeze by the lake swept through Serena's elegant hair, her makeup, free face, slightly flushed. Ryan, do you blame me for not contacting you all these years? Ryan halted, faced the lake, and let out a long sigh. Yes. Serena remained as aloof as ever, making no effort to appease Ryan. She tugged at Ryan, and the two sat down on a bench. If I had reached out, would we still be together? Serena had her own reservations. The man before her was no longer the boy he once was. She had loved that boy, and had always loved him, but she also knew that love requires patience. Just a little more waiting. She was gambling on her own future, on Ryan Zhou's future. This was their shared destiny. The Sue family would never tolerate an ordinary man, one with nothing to his name, entering their household, even if he was someone she loved. A relationship without equal social standing was doomed to fail. She was waiting for Ryan to grow, waiting for their future to unfold. Serena Sue was willing to lend Ryan 6 million yuan and give him 4 years. She even went so far as to make a bet with her mother. If Ryan returned the 6 million within a month, she would grant him those 4 years. If Ryan failed to return the money, he would never receive the letter Serena had left for him. Despite this, Serena secretly helped Ryan behind her family's back, keeping close watch on his every move. This business forum was also personally arranged by Serena for Ryan. Their lives were meant to intersect. For every step Ryan took, every success he achieved, there was someone cheering him on. Serena gazed intently at Ryan, a a faint smile gracing her lips. "Ryan, I want to know your answer." The boy's pride began to stir uneasily at that moment, that remark piercing straight into Ryan Zhou's heart. He dared not answer, yet had no choice but to respond. "I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of missing you. I'm afraid this regret is something I won't be able to make up for." Ryan Zhou's psychological defenses completely crumbled. He had faced countless setbacks before and overcome them one by one, but this time, his heart truly ached. His entire life couldn't withstand close scrutiny, every step fraught with thorns. Memories and experiences from his past life had already given him an expected outcome before making any choice. Now, he clearly understood that if he had opened that letter, he might not have strived as hard as he did now, and the outcome wouldn't be what it is today. He was just like all those who are cowardly, wronged, and lonely. Ryan Zhou looked at Serena Sue with tear-filled eyes, resembling a child who had suffered endless grievances. Serena Sue said nothing, gently pulling him into her embrace. As the plane landed back home, Ryan Zhou's heart finally settled as well. That result he hadn't dared to open 4 years ago lay quietly within the pages of that copy of Dream of the Red Chamber. "I'll wait for you." Just 3 words. Serena Sue had already made her choice back then, but at that time, Ryan Zhou was still a young man with nothing to his name. His greatest courage was to charge forward relentlessly. No outcome might have been the best outcome for him. After all, at this moment, Ryan Zhou felt a weight lift off his shoulders. All the grievances from his past life vanished without a trace. Witnessed by Ryan's parents, Serena Sue and Ryan Zhou got engaged. The Sue family did not object. Serena's mother simply said 4 words: "A well-matched alliance." The wedding proceeded as scheduled, with Kaden Gu and June Wong bringing their adorable daughter to offer their congratulations. Upon seeing Kaden and June, Ryan paused briefly, then patted Kaden's shoulder and laughed heartily. He realized that the unchanging future was quietly shifting in the present moment. The future is not set in stone. The present is the best time to change it. Ryan knelt on one knee, looking up at Serena Sue with a slight smile on his lips. "Serena Sue, will you marry me?" Serena nodded, her face beaming with joy. "I do. I always have."